lightweight division, particularly Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, and Gervonta Tank Davis. Um, let's start off with what Paulie Malignaggi was saying about Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko. Uh, Paulie came out on, I believe it is the Boxing Fan Channel, whatever it's called, Boxing Pro Boxing Fan Channel, something like that. And anyway, he was saying that Devin Haney and his father didn't want to face Vasily Lomachenko. You know, because Devin Haney and his dad obviously said that Lomachenko was ducking him, which we all know Lomachenko was ducking him. Because Devin Haney was actually mandatory to Vasily Lomachenko. And what happened instead, Vasily Lomachenko took the franchise belt, dropped the WBC title. Devin Haney got the WBC title because he was the interim champion. And as a result of that, Vasily Lomachenko didn't face Devin Haney. Instead, he faced Teofimo Lopez. Now, here's the thing. He could have faced Devin Haney. Then go on to face Teofimo Lopez for Undisputed. And they called the fight Undisputed because Vasily Lomachenko had what was called a franchise title. It's not a title. It's a designation. And he didn't win. Couldn't transfer the franchise title. Teofimo Lopez petitioned for it. He got franchise title. Teofimo Lopez calls himself Undisputed. He was not. Teofimo Lopez had the opportunity to face Devin Haney. What did he do? Didn't face him. Instead, he decided to take on his mandatory. So one guy didn't want to face his mandatory, and the other guy took on his mandatory because he did not want to face Devin Haney. In the meantime, these guys punked Devin Haney by saying that, hey, you the email champion, right? Vasily Lomachenko never called Devin Haney that, but Teofimo Lopez was calling him that while ducking his ass. If he's the email champion, why don't you face him? Took on his mandatory anyway and lost to George Kambosos. Alright, let's get to it. Lomachenko ducked Devin Haney, lost to Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez ducked Devin Haney, lost to George Kambosos. Now, which of the two fights would have been bigger? If you didn't call the boy, first of all, an email champion, you could have had the unification for Undisputed, which would have been far more lucrative, far bigger fight than George Kambosos, your mandatory. Anyways, whereas with Vasily Lomachenko taking on a young Devin Haney, possibly Vasily Lomachenko would have had a greater chance of beating Devin Haney at that time than he does now. Which brings me back to the point of Mr. Paulie Malignaggi. Mr. Paulie Malignaggi comes out and says how Devin Haney and his dad were ducking. They're the ones that didn't want this fight with Vasily Lomachenko, and he guaranteed that they wasn't going to take this fight, and they took it. And he's talking about how they were offered so much money. I don't know where Paulie is and what dimension of reasoning he has, but I will tell you this. There are a lot of fans out there who think that Devin Haney is the weakest link in the top lightweights in the division. They think Shakur is better than him. They think Gervonta Davis is better than him. I was listening to a discussion with Greg Hackett, and there's a perception out there that Devin Haney, for some reason, is not, as good as Shakur or as good as Gervonta Tank Davis. For some reason, there's that feeling out there. And to play on that, Paulie Malignaggi said Devin Haney is a fighter like himself, which is bullshit, okay? Devin Haney's way better fighter than you, Paulie Malignaggi. All right? You a clown. You being a clown right now, okay? Talked about how Devin Haney's a simple fighter. Seriously, come on now. If he's so simple, everybody be jumping and beat his ass. If he's so simple, he'd be like a stepping stone, like all them other guys. Teofimo Lopez wouldn't have ducked him to face George Kambosos. And both Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez ducked his ass. Lomachenko is only going through Devin Haney because Devin Haney is undisputed. Okay? And he wants to be undisputed. What is the chances of Lomachenko winning this fight? I give him about 0.00001%. He's not going to beat Devin Haney. Okay? All right, so let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about this. All three of these guys, I started off with Devin Haney because all three of those guys, both Shakur, Devin, and Tank, are fights we want to see. We want to see them face each other. Okay, they're three undefeated fighters, and they're all formidable in their own way. Three killers, three guys with the insatiable appetite to win. But out of the three of them, the most accomplished lightweight at this point in time, I said lightweight, the most accomplished lightweight at this time, it's not Tank, it's not Shakur Stevenson, it's Devin the Dream Haney. Period. Okay? Period. Okay? Shakur was unified super featherweight champion or junior lightweight champion. He was unified. He actually unified with Oscar Valdez, was the WBC champion. He himself was, I believe, the WBO champion. Okay? Shakur beat very capable Jamal Herring. Jamal Herring. Okay? Very capable, hardworking Jamal Herring, who was, I believe, the WBO junior lightweight champion. Okay? Beat then Oscar Valdez, who undefeated, just beat veteran, long reigning champion Oscar Valdez. All right. Now, so Shakur got some really good feathers in his cap. Of course, Shakur being a featherweight champion as well, so he's a two-divisional world champion at present. Shakur Stevenson, very clinical, very precise, very accurate fighter. Southpaw stance. You know. So we're not down in Shakur Stevenson. We're just talking about accomplishments at lightweight. He has not done anything at lightweight. Okay. But his pedigree is there because you can see from super featherweight as well as from featherweight, this man, was the dude. And guys was ducking him as well. Oscar Valdez didn't want to face him. Tank. The Tank is the oldest of them. Okay. Tank has been champion before all of them. Devin Haney's the youngest. Tank is the oldest. They're all young champions. Tank has been super featherweight champion, I believe it is three times. Okay. He was the IBF champion, having beaten the very capable Jose Pedraza. Very capable, very skilled fighter. Actually, was a voided fighter at 130. He was the IBF champion. He'd become IBF champion, I think, 2 fights before. But, switching stance, could fight on the inside, outside, very versatile fighter. Tank stopped him in the 7th round. Tank also faced Leo Santa Cruz, again at super featherweight. It was also for his fake lightweight title, which we don't even talk about. His regular lightweight. That's a secondary title. We don't care about that. That's shit. That's a shit title. We don't talk about those things, right? We talk about the actual titles. All right. So, Tank Davis, he has won the WBA title numerous times with the WBA organization. So he also beat Leo Santa Cruz, and then he also fought for, I believe, the vacant super WBA super featherweight title against Cesar. I forgot his surname. All right, it was for the vacant title. It was another southpaw guy, and he stopped him as well early. So he's a 3-time super featherweight champion. Tank is not a world champion, not a primary world champion, that is, at any other weight class. Shout out to whoever is listening to my. You can always chime in, talk. I'm sorry I can't use the StreamYard because this phone, right now, it can't afford that. So I can't do that kind of stream. You can see how primitive my stream is right now as well. Anyways, let's get to it. So, Gervonta Tank Davis, accomplished, okay? He also won secondary titles at 140 against Mario Barrios, and he was a very capable fighter. Not the top tier of the cream of the cream of the crop, but he's a very capable fighter. And he also won a regular secondary world title at lightweight, which he currently holds, which is the WBA title. Now, the thing about it is, the WBA has sanctioned that if Devin Haney, for example, beats Vasily Lomachenko, that Devontae Tank Davis is now must face Devin Haney next because as a statutory thing. But just to say, Javante Tank Davis is a very capable fighter. Again, very skilled fighter, southpaw. Um, has no unifications. He's not unified with anybody. Was brought along very well by Mayweather Promotions. Featuring him knocking out a lot of people. Again, these people, I mean, he has knocked out world champions, but most of these people are not exceptional fighters. They're not A-level fighters. But he has fought some guys who have proven themselves. So we have Jose Pedraza, for example, very capable fighter. Never really at the A level, never at the peak A level. He's never beaten an A level fighter. Let's put it that way. Um, but he has been Jose Pedraza has been at the top level of boxing once or twice, right? He's been a world champion twice. Tank also beat former world champions like the guy I just told you about. Then a four divisional world champion in Leo Santa Cruz, who's a exceptional fighter. Who has fought guys like Carl Frampton and the guy who announces right now, which I can't remember his name right now, and several other, and he's had several other memorable fights. And Leo Santa Cruz is a hell of a fighter. Okay, period. Having said that, uh, Tank, uh, Devin, and Shakur are the top guys at lightweight right now. Right now. And it can change. And it probably will change. But as of now, when we're speaking about now, the guys at the top of the division, including Vasily Lomachenko by designation, they're the top guys. You get Vasily Lomachenko, Javante Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney. Those are the four top guys right now. But based on ranking, Lomachenko's ahead of everybody except for Devin Haney, because Devin Haney, of course, is undisputed. So if you're going to rank these guys, the top of the division is Devin Haney because he's undisputed. And then next is Lomachenko. Now, the reason Lomachenko is next is because he's won the last couple of fights he's had, and his resume at lightweight is quite substantial. He's beaten numerous lightweight champions. He's beaten actually 3 lightweight champions in a row. He beat Jorge Linares. He beat Jose Pedraza. No, he did. It wasn't 3 current champions. He beat 2 current champions in a row. It was Jose Pedraza and Jorge Linares. He beat Luke Campbell for the vacant WBC title, which was vacated by Mikey Garcia. Now, the thing about this is, and this is the reason why we said that Lomachenko ducked Devin Haney. Lomachenko actually was not supposed to fight for that title. It was supposed to be Devin Haney. Lomachenko was in a different organization. He was not in the WBC. Devin Haney was supposed to fight Luke Campbell for the WBC title that was vacated by Mikey Garcia. Lomachenko skipped the line, and because of that, Devin Haney was owed his shot at the WBC title, which Lomachenko was supposed to oblige. So Devin Haney became the mandatory for Lomachenko because Lomachenko skipped Devin Haney. Devin Haney was supposed to have that spot, but because Lomachenko was such an accomplished fighter, the WBC allowed Lomachenko, who had actually at the time, Lomachenko had, what title did he have? I believe he had no title. Oh, maybe he had, I think he had the WBO title. I think he had the WBO title at the time. It's possible he had the WBA as well. He probably beat Jorge Linares. Yes, he beat Jorge Linares, who had I believe the the WBA. So Jorge Linares had the WBA title, and I believe Jose Pedraza had the WBO. So he beat Pedraza, he beat that, and then the third one with Luke Campbell was the title. He beat Luke Campbell for the WBC. Okay, so because Lomachenko had 2 titles, he got to skip the line ahead of Devin Haney, who had nothing, of course. And Devin Haney was the interim. He was supposed to face Luke Campbell for the WBC. The WBC gave preference to Lomachenko in the event that Devin Haney was supposed to have his shot at the title after Lomachenko had beaten Kind of like what happened with oh, never mind. So that was how that was supposed to go down. So that's why we say Lomachenko ducked Devin Haney. He did not give Devin Haney the opportunity to have to fight for the WBC title, which was he earned that. Okay, so when people talk about how Devin Haney is he's ducking this one or he had email champion and stuff, that was really bad because he was owed that WBC title. He was the WBC title that he got, whereas Vasily Lomachenko had the franchise title. He was owed that, so that's why he got it. He had fought for the interim title, so he was just elevated from interim to that title. So that's what happened with Devin Haney. All right. Now, with Tank had faced Jose Pedraza, undefeated fighter. Tank had faced Leo Santa Cruz, right? But all of these happened at super featherweight. So Tank really made his name and his mark at super featherweight and has his championships, his legitimate primary championships at super featherweight. Okay, Shakur Stevenson made his mark at super featherweight and at featherweight. I think Shakur Stevenson was I can't remember what champion he was at featherweight, and I don't remember who he beat. But I do know I think he fought for a vacant title. But at super featherweight is where Shakur made his name. He beat Jamal Herring and he beat Oscar Valles. So that's the two names that Shakur has on his resume. And again, Oscar Valles, undefeated fighter. Jamal Herring, I've been defeated before, going through the road, but a capable veteran fighter. Okay? So that's where Shakur makes his name there. He made his name mainly at super featherweight, just like Tank. Tank fought legitimate. Now, with Devin Haney fought a veteran who was no longer world champion in Jorge Linares. He then fought very capable, very skilled fighter in Jojo Diaz, who was former world champion, actually beat Jojo Diaz. Let me tell you how good Jojo Diaz is. Jojo Diaz beat Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer was a guy, long-reigning IBF champion, who was supposed to face Tank Davis. They were trying to, Tank Davis and Tank Davis was the WBA champion, and Tevin Farmer was the IBF champion, and they were trying to make that fight happen, and it just never crystallized. And Tevin Farmer was winning fight after fight after fight. They were trying to push for that fight, but eventually they backfired. So Jojo Diaz ended up facing Tevin Farmer, and he put a beating on Tevin Farmer. He beat his ass. Okay, so Jojo Diaz has faced guys like Gary Russell Jr. You named the names. Some upcoming guys he didn't get the decision on. Jojo Diaz has been around for a while too. He's a veteran fighter, and I still give Jojo Diaz a lot of props. He don't come out of fights beaten up. Jojo Diaz would never get stopped. None of those things. He got really solid defense. The thing with Jojo, sometimes he don't get going, enough. He doesn't throw enough output. So the other guy, off of just activity, not necessarily landing punches, off of activity, wins the fight again. But Jojo is usually the most accurate of the two. In fact, when Jojo fought Devin Haney, Jojo was coming on strong in the end, and then Devin Haney picked it back up, and he took over. And Jojo's a hell of a fighter. Okay, hell of a fighter, old school fighter. To spread that needle and get his body shots in as he needs to. So when people talk about Jojo Diaz, unfortunately for Jojo, it's just what it is. This guy, he became world champion though. But, Jojo is Just K. What's up, brother? What's up, Just K? Jojo's a hell of a fighter. I'm not going to lie to you guys. The skill this guy has and the ability to thread the needle. The problem with Jojo sometimes is he just don't throw enough. And he's not a one-hitter quitter either. But, he don't get me wrong. He throws some nasty body shots and stuff. But he's not a one-hitter quitter. But, boy, can he thread that needle. And he's done it to everybody. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get the decision recently against what's the guy, Zepeda. He didn't get it against William Zepeda. Again, William Zepeda, a lot of activity. Okay? Wasn't hurting Jojo in any way, shape, or form. When Jojo started unleashing his shit, Zepeda would back off a bit, but then again, Zepeda would just keep on throwing that volume. So that Zepeda basically won the fight against Jojo, in my opinion, off of volume. Jojo was the guy with the more accurate shots, the well-placed shots, and stuff like that. But, the commentary team wasn't even listening because, again, when you have a bias against a fighter, you're going to see the fight how you see it, So I listened to the commentary team. Jojo need to pick up the pace and blah, blah. But when Jojo plays some shots, he really plays some shots. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, though. So if you're looking at volume, yeah, William Cepeda beat Jojo Diaz. Okay, straight up. But if you're looking at pinpoint accurate shots, well placed shots, you know, that's Jojo Diaz all day, every day, right? But anyway, what I'm saying is Jojo Diaz, you know, is a good, capable fighter, and so there was now uh, Jorge Linares. You know, Jorge Linares wasn't in his prime, clearly not, right? He was no longer the number one lightweight in the division. He was once upon a time. In fact, when Lomachenko faced him, I believe he was the number one lightweight in the division. Jojo went and Vasily Lomachenko went up to lightweight. His first lightweight fight was against Jorge Linares, and Jorge Linares can box. You know, is very capable, very skilled fighter, and also has power with it. Jorge Linares can knock you out. He actually dropped Vasily Lomachenko, hurt Devin Haney. He did hurt him. Devin Haney did recoup, but Jorge's always been known as a puncher. All right, so Jorge's a bad boy. He gets cut a lot, but in this case, I think Lomachenko stopped him with a body shot, well placed body shot. Kudos to Lomachenko on that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. That Jorge Linares is the other guy that Devin Haney has faced. Now, with respect to the next guy that I'm going to talk about, which is George Kambosos, undefeated fighter, been blazing it, beat Teofimo Lopez. Nobody's going to say that Teofimo Lopez beat George Kambosos. That's not true. We all know George Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez. Shocked everybody. Not me too much, but it shocked everybody. He beat the shit out of Teofimo Lopez, okay? People making excuses right now, but it is what it is. Became unified world champion, okay? Y'all can say what you want about George Kambosos. Devin Haney, yeah, he controlled him. Devin Haney controlled him, but then there's Devin Haney, okay? That's Devin Haney. Everybody can't control Kambosos. Y'all gonna see. All right, y'all gonna see. George Kambosos is going to become world champion again. I guarantee you that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. When the dust fades. George Kambosos is not a guy you're going to knock out. Okay? If Teofimo Lopez couldn't knock out George Kambosos, and Teo caught him with a perfect right hand as George Kambosos was pulling back. And Kambosos got up from that and won the round. Well, basically beat Teofimo Lopez's ass after that. He dusted himself off and he started whooping Teofimo. He came back with even more vengeance. Okay? Devin Haney ain't gonna knock out George Kambosos. What made y'all guys think that Devin Haney would knock out George Kambosos? Why am I saying this? Because I'm talking about all these three. I'm going to talk about these three bad boys because they all bad boys. If y'all do remember the first fight, Devin Haney basically controlled George Kambosos with a jab, right? He controlled him with a jab, a beautifully timed jab with feints, with footwork. This is why Paulie Malignaggi don't know what the hell he talking about, okay? When he talks about, Just K says, Kambosos bullied Lopez. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Beat the shit out of Lopez, okay? Anyway, back to what I was saying. Devin Haney is not Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi, you need to get slapped for that, okay? He ain't you. You's a herky-jerky kind of guy. You pop your jab, you go in and out, all right? And you circle around your opponent. Devin Haney ain't that, okay? So when I heard Paulie talking about how Devin Haney's a simple fighter. Get the heck, man, slap yourself, okay? Slap yourself, and I'm gonna tell you why. Devin Haney's footwork, first of all, all right, is Mayweather-esque. It's footwork. I don't think y'all understand what this ninja be doing, okay? Has to do with rhythm and timing. Rhythm and timing. What he did to Kambosos in the second fight, we don't even want to talk about the first fight. But the first fight, Devin Haney said he realized he just needed to have the jab down with Kambosos. But it's how he was throwing that overhand right on Kambosos. It's how he pivoted under Kambosos' hook and spun out behind him. It's how he would spin out to the side of Kambosos. I said footwork. He spin out listen to what I'm saying.
He spin out to the side of Kambosos before Kambosos could turn it. He turned into the right hand. Then he kept him long with the jab. He feigned the jab. He threw 4 different kinds of jabs. He kicked the jab right here, right here, right here, right? He don't bring it right back to his face. Sometimes he keep it right here. You guys can't see it from the side. And he'd flick it out. He'd flick it out. Sometimes he do as if he's going to throw the jab. And he's pivoting his body. He's feinting so fluently. The fluent feints. God damn it, man. Paulie don't know shit about that. He's a herky-jerky kind of fighter. He don't shit about that. You see how smooth and how slick that boy is? And he can be long, he can be short. He know how to shorten up his shots on the inside. What is wrong with these people? Yes, he looked a little bit like Bambi because he's big, just like how Sugar Ray Leonard looked like kind of like Bambi. He's long. So he he has to collapse those long arms to get the short shots in. Errol Spence got really great base. Devin's building his base. He's a young guy. He's only 24 years old. He and Benavidez. They young. They pups. When you see pups doing this shit, what do you expect when they start to fill out? Y'all have no idea what's coming. Devin's a bad boy. Okay? There's a reason why. The only person calling out Devin Haney like that is Shakur. Only Shakur, because Shakur can hang with Devin. Nobody's if spots or maybes. Tank. We're going to talk about Tank. And Tank is a hell of a fighter too. Got all kinds of little veteran tricks up his sleeve. Because you could tell you talking with Floyd. But don't get it twisted. Devin is a problem for anybody. And that is not an easy fight. Okay? The footwork. Man, I can't. Don't get me wrong. Tank got footwork too. Shakur got footwork too. But it's the rhythm and the footwork. And I don't care what y'all say. I know my boxing. I know that boy bad. All right? I know he bad. And he ain't even started. He can't even scratch the surface of what he gonna be. He a bad boy. All right? Okay, so that's Devin Haney. So I don't want to say too much more, but I'm looking forward to that Lomachenko fight when Devin Haney does what he does, because he gonna do some stuff. But I just want to elaborate on Devin Haney, because a lot of people do not understand what they're watching. Not even Paulie understands what he's watching, or Paulie knows what he's watching and he's misinforming everybody. He knows Devin is the threat in the division. Of the 135 division, the threat in the 135 division is Devin Haney. And there's a reason why Devin Haney is sticking around 135, even though he should be at 140 right now. It's because the skills he got and the ability and the hardness and the toughness and the ruggedness that he got cannot be rivaled. And the work ethic cannot be rivaled. Cannot be rivaled right now. Tank just got serious a couple of years ago. And he really taking this boxing thing serious. He's not trying to miss weight and all that stuff. Okay? They haven't been doing it from day one. From day one. Okay? Shakur been doing it from day one. You want to know who the killers are in this thing? Okay, I just mentioned the 2 killers at the lightweight division. Not to disrespect Tank, because Tank a bad motherfucker himself. He a killer too. But you see, when you're talking about when the dust clears, who will still be standing? It's them 2 I just said. Haney and Shakur. Them is the baddest. They're going to be the baddest. I'm telling you, they're going to be the baddest. Just shut your mouth out here. Okay? Them 2 boys. Remember what I said. They don't got that they don't have that dynamite in their hands like Tank does. Tank got dynamite. Born that way. Come in and knock you out, right? They don't got that. But see, what a lot of people don't understand is that don't make you less bad. That don't make you a bad mother sucker. That's what a lot of people don't understand. I prefer to get knocked out in the ring than go 12 rounds getting my ass beat every single round. I pray the ninja would knock me out, but he's not knocking me out. Most fighters die in the ring from accumulation of punishment. You know who was a wicked motherfucker like that? Sorry, mother, suck your mouth, shut your mouth. You know who was like that? Muhammad Ali. He beat you, beat you, beat you, and he beat you till you quit. He beat you for 15 rounds if it had to be 15. He beat you up until you give up. That's actually worse. Tank's trainer. Tank's trainer. Right? Tank's trainer, right, said, I don't want Tank to knock him out. I want Tank to beat them, savagely beat them, and beat the fight out of them. That's what Coach Calvin said. Coach Calvin got it. You want to know what a killer is? You want to know what a nasty guy is in that ring? A nasty fighter is a fighter that takes another fighter's soul from him. That makes him not want to box another day in his life from the live beating that he gets. And a lot of fighters take beatings. But when you go into a fight where the wear and tear is so bad and the beating is so bad that you get sick off of that, that's a nasty fighter. That's an evil fighter. That's a fighter that's nasty. Because he beat the daylights out of you. He beat the hell out of you. He beat you so bad that a couple years after, you sick. You got CTE. You got punch drunk syndrome. You took such a bad beating that you are never the same. That's boxing. That's a bad motherfucker. Excuse my French. Okay? So if you guys want to know, the guy that knocks you out does you a favor. You did brain trauma for a brief moment in time that you could recoup from. He a nice guy. He didn't make you suffer. A real wicked person, a real evil person will make you suffer for 12 rounds. Make the referee want to come in and say, stop the fight, just stop the fight. Because if the corner don't say it, the referee might say, oh, okay, no, he got enough punishment. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta understand. Boxing's about fighting. Fighting is about punishment. There's some wicked people out here. They ain't gonna knock you out. They just keep you going and going. They want to see how long you can endure punishment. All right? So they could knock you out, but they choose not to knock you out. Just beat you up. Right? So when you look at guys like Devin and Shakur, yeah, they don't got one hit or quitter power. But they could wreck somebody's career. Real bad. Okay? Wreck somebody's career real bad. End it. And you listen to what Devin Haney been saying about Lomachenko, and you will understand. You will understand what's really going on. Just K says, beat the fight out of you. Beat the health. Your mental and physical health out of you. These guys gonna beat you up here too. Every which way. Make you remember them forever. Okay? So, you don't need to have one hit. I mean, lots of people, the casual fans and so on, they love knockouts. I mean, who doesn't like knockouts? Okay, it's a definitive way of winning a fight. But let's make it abundantly clear. The most savage thing you could possibly do in boxing is beat a fighter for 12 rounds. Or how many rounds the fight has. That's savage. Because the fighter had to take that part. And they got to go heal up. Right? So when I saw the Kambosos fight, and when I saw the Oscar Valdez fight, Shakur beat Oscar Valdez so bad. Oscar Valdez knew he had no chance in hell, but he kept on trying. And he was just collecting punishment I mean, punishment. Shakur knocked him down. That's to tell you, a punishment round after round. He was just taking punishment. That's attrition. And you have no chance in hell of winning a fight. And you taking that kind of punishment? That's debilitating. That's what boxers don't. That's why they duck and dodge certain fighters. Because, man, it takes a lot of courage to go up against a fighter you know you got like 0.001 chance of beating. And on top of that, you taking a beating for no reason at all, just to collect a paycheck. That's debilitating. All right? So, there's a reason why guys like Benavidez and Devin Haney, they asking for the smoke. They calling for the smoke. Ain't nobody trying to get the smoke with them. This man's an undisputed fighter. Devin Haney's undisputed. He the man of the division. Ain't nobody except for Shakur calling for that smoke. Shakur calling for the smoke. Because he know he could handle that situation. That's a good fight for him. Ain't nobody else calling for the smoke. Nobody's got jumping up and saying, I want the smoke. Nobody else. Right? And there's a reason that's so. All right? There's a reason that's so. All right? That's Devin. Now, Shakur is a bad boy. Now, let's talk about Tank. Tank's a bad boy. He a bad boy with power. He got power. Right? And the thing about him is he's very calculated in how he fights now. His maturity is really at a high level. Okay? When I looked at how he controlled Ryan Garcia, controlled him with the lead hand, right? He used his right hand, his lead hand, to control Ryan Garcia's jab. You heard what I said? He controlled his jab. How he controlled his jab? He checked Ryan Garcia's lead hand. He would keep Ryan Garcia's lead hand at home. Sometimes push on his lead hand, touch his lead hand. We call it the touch jab. Touch his lead hand. Okay? Touch jabs do a number of different things. Another thing that Tank did was, if you look at Tank's lead hand, he changed it up a little bit. So he had the high guard, and then he would take his lead hand, like I said before, and keep his lead hand closer to Ryan Garcia. So he had a shorter distance to just touch Ryan Garcia's lead hand. Or sometimes he would do what we call, he change up his rhythm. So, he'd mask his rhythm. So he'd feint as if he's going to throw a jab, feint like he's going to try and stick out the jab and touch Ryan Garcia's hand. He's stealing he's stealing little moments. And in the meantime, he's moving his feet all the time. He's slightly changing the angle all the time. And he's oscillating this way or that way. So he's circling you this way, or he's going to circle you back the other way, right? And so Ryan didn't know nothing about that. He didn't understand what was going on. He didn't realize why he wasn't even jabbing. And until much later on, I think it was the fourth or fifth round in the fight, he realized he needed to go over Tank's lead hand. Tank was smiling because Tank realized he got him. He got him, mesmerized him. It's like a Houdini thing. He's mesmerized Ryan. It's a Mayweather thing. He mesmerized him, kept his hand at home. And so he could do whatever he wanted to. All right? Shakur does it in a way, and I think Errol Spence does it in a way. What they do is, so when they want to throw the lead left to the body, they stiff arm you. They stiff arm you with the right hand. So they'll stiff arm you with the right hand. That right hand goes out and touches. Now, you could touch the lead hand or you could touch the power hand, right? Depends on which. But generally, most boxers lead with their lead hand. They will start off with their lead hand, right? That's the probe. That's the feeler. That's the thing to find range. That's the thing to find out where the target is, etc., etc., etc. So if you can keep that targeting device, if you can keep that lead hand, if you can keep the jabbing hand from doing anything, you got it. We call it occupying your opponent, right? If you can get him to keep his lead hand at home, now he ain't got no compass. He ain't got no direction. He can't locate what he need to find, because most guys lead off their jab anyway. So once you got that at home, you free reign to fire whatever you want, because he not gonna counter you with his power hand, his backhand. He probably not gonna counter you with that. So you touch the lead hand, because remember how we learn combinations in boxing is you do the 1-2, right? But if there ain't no one, you can't have no two, right? So they ain't looking to fire off the right hand to counter a lead left to the body. So what you will see is Shakur, Errol Spence, these guys, they're gonna put their lead hand, they're gonna touch you with the lead hand, keep the lead hand out there, called stiff arming, and then fire the straight left to the body. So the lead hand's still up out there while they're firing the next hand, and then they pull back the lead hand, and then they pivot out the way. So what that does is it freezes your opponent, because he can't throw nothing. He's not thinking nothing. And then you could feint him and get him out of position, or you could feint him and do as if you're going to throw a lead left to the body and go up top. So he's going to club up his body, and then you sweep the left hand around, hit him on the chin or around the guard. You know what I'm saying? So there's all these little tricks. You look at Floyd versus Canelo is a good example of how to use the lead hand to do all kinds of things. Okay? How Floyd kept Canelo's hands at home, period. Both the lead hand and the backhand. He would touch both hands. He would touch like the lead hand first, and then he touch the backhand. And then he would throw his jab. He'd pat the little jab and then sweep the right hand around the guard. He mesmerized him. He's got him frozen. He doesn't even realize what's going on. There's all these little tricks. And boxing is a tricky sport. Tricky. I don't even talk about the footwork. Right, so, these are the things that guys like Devin Haney, Shakur, that's what they do. Because, remember, they got to have all these little tricks up their sleeve, with the movement, the rhythm, all those kinds of things. And Tank also has those things. Plus, he has power, right? Tank hasn't fought really anybody. His spectacular knockouts have come out against guys who don't have all that veteran savvy. But Devin and Shakur, as young as they are, have all those tricks up their sleeve. So they know about all that stuff already. Okay? Yuracus Gamboa knows a lot of veteran tricks. Which is why Tank, even though Yuracus Gamboa, his balance was off, and he gave Tank a lot of problems, right? The reason being because Yuracus Gamboa knows a lot of veteran tricks to stay in a fight and survive. Tank eventually got him out of there, I think, in the 12th round, the final round. But Gamboa, man, is a tricky guy, right? And you saw, now, Devin Haney completely outclassed him, but Gamboa was still smart enough to know how to survive, how to tie up, how to, change direction, just do a whole bunch of different things to change up the game. And the experience you get from fighting such veteran fighters is priceless, right? Going into something else that I thought was fun to talk about is fighters who face fighters with veteran experience. Canelo, Haney, Tank, Haney's going to be facing Lomachenko. He's going to get a good set of veteran experience again, some veteran thing Lomachenko's going to show him. Is the benefit of that is that now you can take those veteran tricks that they use on you, whether successful or not, and add it to your arsenal. See, fighting somebody teaches you a lot. It's not just a one-way street. Just because you win a fight doesn't mean you ain't learned nothing from your opponent that you can't take into your next fight. And that's the beauty of it. Why Canelo is so advanced and so far ahead of the game. And don't get it twisted. I know Dimitri Bivol gonna whoop his ass. We know that. But be that as it may, Canelo is an exceptional fighter. Even when you look at him when he was fighting, what's the kid name? John Ryder, right? Even when he was fighting John Ryder, he showed us just why he's in another class to John Ryder. The clean shots. How the first shot that Canelo landed on John Ryder was such a clever shot. It was a quick left hook to the liver. The way how a southpaw's liver is aligned versus the way how an orthodox fighter's liver is aligned is such that you're not hooking around to get to the liver, so you don't get that kind of leverage that you would normally have as if you were dealing with an orthodox fighter. Okay, and John Ryder was a southpaw, but it was just so clever that Canelo started going to his liver because that was the closest thing to him. It's now on the lead side, so why not go to the liver? And I thought it was so clever and again a veteran move, a very smart move, and he couldn't miss with it. Right, John Ryder, of course, because John Ryder was in a southpaw stance, Canelo really couldn't put the leverage that he wanted to into that liver shot, but nonetheless, he was taking it, right? And it's something that I noticed. Canelo leads with left hooks. He doesn't always lead with the jab, which is always brilliant because let me explain something to you guys. So, as I said before, the lead hand is really the important tool when you're boxing. It's not necessarily the jab. All right, you can lead with anything. You could lead with an uppercut. You could lead with with your lead hand. You could lead with a left hook, right? Roy Jones Jr. is famous for that. He lead with the left hook, right? He would feint the jab. He would leap in, feint the jab, and then whip it around and hit you with the left hook, right? Call it a leaping left hook. You know, he loop it and catch you. You know how he hit. How he stopped what the kid name that beat him. I can't remember. He's from Michigan too. Same place as Floyd. The short guy, 5'6", I think he is. Anyway, whatever he is, the second fight, he leaped in. He leaped in with a looping left hook, but it started off looking like he was going to throw a jab. He was going to do a leaping jab, and instead he came around with a leaping left hook. And so you can lead with all kinds of punches. It's not just the jab. And especially, see, the thing about boxing is not to be predictable. The less predictable you are is the more advantage you have. And this is what Floyd understood. He understood if my opponent can't read me, he ain't going to know what's coming. And if he don't know what's coming, I got an advantage. He got to look at me. He got to react to me. I can set my traps. I know what he gonna bring because I set a trap for him, but he don't know what I'm gonna bring. That's the trick to boxing, right? So a lot of people say Floyd knew what I was gonna throw before I throw it. No, he set a trap for you. Of course, he knew what he was gonna throw because he set it up that way. You know, smart boxing, right? Canelo does some of that, but he still hasn't mastered that. And mainly because I'm going to explain to you guys another thing, which is why guys like Haney and Shakur are going to be a problem. Haney more than Shakur because Haney actually develops other things in his game. You know, Shakur is very precise and everything, but Haney is actually more fluid and more versatile than Shakur is. Or Shakur is just showing us what he's showing us, and he's not showing us more. Maybe he has more to his game too. Very sharp fighter, by the way. But what you have to understand is to be able to set up somebody, to be able to set them up for a trap, you've got to have great footwork. I didn't say you have to use the entire ring. I didn't say you have to, walk all around the place and have, fancy foot. I never said none of that. I said you have to have great footwork. You look at Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri Bivol has kept it so simple, but yet so complex is what he's doing because the fundamentals of what he does with his feet and how he so economical with how he moves his feet and his timing and everything is what makes Bivol such a terrific fighter. Okay? It's his footwork, right? You don't throw any spectacular combinations. Nothing fancy, nothing you've never seen before, nothing super flashy. But his footwork put him in an angular position to take advantage of that. And it's the same thing. If you want to set traps for people, You can't set traps if you don't have footwork. Right? Boxing starts with your feet. You see, and so when Paulie say, they were saying that Bevo, he's simple, and he's straight. He ain't simple. Ain't nothing simple about Bevo. If he was simple, they solve him. All right, his footwork is the trick. Footwork is the trick. All right, he has good defense, solid defense, but his footwork is the trick. Same thing with Devin Haney. Same thing with Tank and Shakur. Tank, especially against Ryan, his footwork was the thing that won him the fight. You see, not only did he not stay directly in front of Ryan, he made Ryan come get him, and because Ryan had to come get him, Ryan fell into the traps that he was setting for. Right. So smart boxing. These three guys are smart boxers. How people perceive them, a lot of people perceive Tank as superior to the other two. And the reason they do is because of how Mayweather Promotions has promoted Tank. They did an excellent job in getting him the knockouts that he needed to make him look like he's this young Mike Tyson. The right opponents. I'm not saying that they selected the right opponents for him all the time, because remember Pitbull Cruz came in. Pitbull Cruz made a great account of himself. Okay? But I'm just saying that Tank was created to look the way how he looks. Not to say that Tank isn't a spectacular fighter or whatever, but the way how he was built up by Mayweather Promotions makes him look like he's the top guy in the division. So it's appearances. It's what we call optics. Okay? So Tank looks like this great fighter. Like nobody can beat Tank right now. Okay? But the guy who's putting in the work in the division right now is Devin Haney. Okay? Devin Haney is not about optics. It's not how he appears. Devin Haney's facing the best fighters in the division. He faced, I believe it is 5 world champions now, former and present. Okay? He faced a unified champion in Cambosos, who ain't no joke. He faced Jorge Linares, who was once upon a time the best lightweight in the division. Not at the time that Devin faced him, of course. He also faced Jojo Diaz, who I think 2 or 3 fights ago was the super featherweight IBF champion. He then faced also who else did he face? Yorkis Gamboa. Yorkis Gamboa was never going to win any of the fights. Whether it was against Tank or against Devin, he wasn't going to win any of the fights. But nonetheless, Gamboa, I believe he was a featherweight and super featherweight champion. He never was a lightweight world champion. Yeah, he won a secondary title at lightweight, but he was never a lightweight world champion. Right? But Yorkis Gamboa, veteran fighter, so it's 4. His 5th is going to be Vasily Lomachenko. Okay? Tank has faced, I believe it is, I think he's faced Jose Petroza, Cesar, whatever his name is, who also was a world champion, featherweight world champion, and then he faced Leo Santa Cruz. Okay, Yorkis Gamboa. Who else? I think that's about it. So he's also faced 4 world champions. Shakur Stevenson, he's faced Oscar Valdez, he faced Jamel Herring. Who else? I think that's about it. Okay. So, I believe Devin and Tank have faced the most world champions, but Devin's about to pass Tank by facing Vasily Lomachenko, who's definitely going to be going down into the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Vasily Lomachenko has faced what, I believe, five former or present world champions at lightweight. I think it's five he has faced. He's beaten four, I believe. Yeah, because it was Linares, it was Pedraza, it was that British guy, T.O., and then he also faced the IBF world champion that T.O. knocked out, the African dude. He recently beat him as well. So five world champions he's faced, and four he's beaten at lightweight. So this guy got a lot of experience at lightweight. And super featherweight, he beat Rocky Martinez. He beat Nicholas Walters. He beat Guillermo Rigondeaux. All of that is super featherweight, I believe. And then at featherweight, he also faced Salido. He lost to Salido. He also beat Gary Russell Jr. So, Loma done some good work. He put in some good work. A lot of world champions he's had. I think 10 or 12 world champions he's faced in his short career. So, he put in the work, and he's about to face Devin Haney, who's undisputed champion. So that would be like 13 or 14. He has what? I don't even think Loma has 20 fights. And I think he has almost as many world champions as he has fights. So I mean some crazy stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? So Vasily Lomachenko, he do his thing. You gotta give him his respect. This is his last chance to go for undisputed. So there's all guns blazing here. He gonna be coming out to do whatever it takes to win the undisputed title against Devin Haney, and he's gonna do his thing. He's gonna try his best, but Devin Haney gonna cook him. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. He's gonna get cooked. Um, so out of all these guys, who's gonna be the last man standing if all of them stay at lightweight? Well, let me say this: if Devin Haney stays on at lightweight, maybe till the end of this year, maybe he faces Shakur, maybe he faces Tank, because those are the only other two guys worth the while for him to stay at lightweight to face at this point in time. I would say this: once he makes weight, once he makes weight, it's going to be a hell of something to see those fights. Do I know who's going to win those fights? I listen to different guys think that they think Tank would win those fights because he's got the power. The thing about it is, ring IQ is not something you can really know until both fighters actually go into the ring, and then you will see who got the better ring IQ. Because it's all about ring IQ. I don't care if you got a hit or quitter. You can have a hit or quitter as much as you want. If you don't have that ring IQ, if you don't have that knowledge base, if you don't know how to make the right decisions at the right time, you're going to lose. Right? We know Shakur, he's confident that he could go in there and fight Devin Haney and beat him. Right? And I'm sure Devin Haney's confident that any one of those guys he goes in, he'll beat. And similarly with Tank. Well, not similarly with Tank, actually, because Tank hasn't tried to step in the ring with those guys yet. So until he steps into the ring with one of those guys, we will know. Right? He got power, but power don't mean shit if you can't use it. Right? If that power's taken away, meaning they disable his best attributes, it doesn't mean shit. Right? And so them three guys is the guys you got to look at in the division. Devin Haney be the guy right now in the division who is definitely the top guy in the division. His resume proves it. And who he's going to face next just only solidifies it even more. Tank is more of a side attraction. He hasn't done nothing really in division. He fought Rolly Romero. That's a Mayweather guy. He accomplished absolutely nothing so far in terms of world championships. He fought Ryan Garcia again. Accomplished absolutely nothing in terms of world championships. Ryan is a very good fighter, um, but again, nothing has been accomplished. Boxing is a doing sport. It's not, it's not about this. It's not about talking. It's about doing. So, if you ain't accomplished shit, like you ain't done nothing, like you ain't win no world title, or what that mean? It don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? So Shakur, you know, Shakur has faced guys who did stuff. He himself has done stuff. So it's a different story. Even if you never won a world title, but you actually fought a bona fide world champion. Ryan Garcia hasn't fought a bona fide world champion. Not one. The guy who he beat recently at 140 from the Dominican Republic, forgot his name right now, never was a bona fide world champion. He was a secondary world champion. So Ryan Garcia never faced a world champion until he faced Tank. Got knocked out by him, right? So, didn't have the experience really to really take advantage of that situation. He wanted to fight, but couldn't capitalize on, that moment. Um, so Tank really ain't the only guy he's faced who was a world champion, not in that division, but nonetheless, was Gamboa. So, you know, that's all Tank got. I mean, he said Cruz never been a world champion. He's a good little fighter, but never been a world champion. You know what I mean? So Tank ain't really done much at lightweight. He's got some good opponents at lightweight, like he said Cruz, Ryan Garcia. They good fighters. We'll see if Raleigh Romero can pull it off this weekend and win a world championship at 140. He'll be facing, I believe it's Israel Barroso. I think is the guy's name. He's a 40-year-old man. Boxing. I have to go and do my homework on that, but will that make that fight worth the while? We'll see. We'll see. I can't say. I don't know. Right. So Tank has fought some exciting fights. People come to see it, but he hasn't been fighting the creme de la creme at 140, 135. He's not been doing that. He's been fighting guys who are fringe fighters, contenders and that stuff, not guys who were world champions or are the top guys, top contenders. He's not doing that. All right. So when people talk about these guys, they need to understand that it's great to have knockouts. Against who you're knocking, who you're knocking out is the question, right? Tank knows he ain't gonna knock out Devin Haney, and he's not gonna knock out Shakur Stevenson. That ain't happening, right? Those guys are defensive fighters. 1, 2. Devin Haney's strong. Shakur is strong. Those guys are not just gonna let you bully them. You know what I mean? So I wanted to leave that there because I've listened to a lot of discussion about the lightweight division and so on, and I personally think that those three guys, while outstanding boxers, I think the real order in which they go is Devin Haney, Tank, and then Shakur, based on accomplishments at lightweight. That's how it goes. Until Shakur accomplishes more, we can't put him higher. Similarly with Tank. So I got for you guys. I'm going to catch you guys later. I'm what you need. Peace.